Hello and welcome back, and I hope you all are doing great. So we want to start basically this video with by building this new and custom progress view in SwiftUI and iOS 17. So let me show you what we're going to be building, and we're going to be building this cool looking progress view, and this is all custom. So everything that we're going to build basically is going to be from scratch, and I want to show you how you can actually achieve this effect to make that attractive UI available to your customers. All right, so this is the target for today, and before we actually proceed with the video itself and building this out, I want to quickly call out, I don't know if you have checked out devtechie.com recently, but we have released a lot of stuff that is basically SwiftUI 5 and iOS 17, and we're going to continue to basically build out more and more and release more items for these. One of the cores that I want to highlight is this build complete goals app. Now this one actually includes not only Firebase backend but SwiftUI MVVM design pattern, and we're going to be following unit test and dependency injection. So there's a lot for you to learn in this one, so go ahead and check it out. It's a 35 lesson long course, and I would highly encourage you to check it out. You're gonna learn a lot, so just go to devtechie.com and check the courses out. All right, with that aside, I'm gonna basically go ahead and get started coding this this view that we're gonna create. Okay, so back in Xcode, I'm using Xcode 15 release candidate, which was released on September 12th, and this is what we're gonna use because Apple is basically encouraging us to use this release candidate to submit all the app builds. So essentially, you can build your apps for iOS 17 and submit them to the App Store, and this most likely is going to become available and become the Xcode from the App Store as well. Okay, all right, with that, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to shrink this one down a little bit, and it'll give us a little bit more room here on the side, and we are going to start with a few state properties. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with a state property, and this state property is going to basically toggle the progress bar, being able to show and hide the progress bar. So we're going to call this show progress, or progress circle, rather, if you want to call that, because it is a circle. The next one is basically going to be the degree that we are going to apply for the angle. So if you look at this, there is a, all right, let me see if I can actually launch this again. I don't know what's going on, but let's go ahead and launch this again. And if you can see, there's a degree applied to it, which is actually rotating the center point, or the beginning of the circle itself, and that is what we are going to be actually defining here with a private variable called degrees. We're gonna set its initial value as 270, and let's go ahead and put the type as int, so there's no confusion there. We also need a state property to track the progress of the overall circle, how much circle is completed in this circular progress view. So we're gonna basically have a state private var for progress length, and we're going to start with 0.8. okay, 0.8 is going to be the value. Now next is going to be a state property, which is going to keep a track of the current index for color. Okay, and we are first going to create color index, and we're going to set it to 0, and this color index is going to basically help us read different colors from an array, which is going to be a simple private variable, or it can be a constant as well, but we can actually say private variable colors, And essentially this is going to host some of the primary colors. So we're going to say color.red dot green dot blue. Let's go ahead and throw orange in this as well. Okay, so these are going to be the colors that we're going to cycle through. Now it's time to build basically our main view. We're going to have our whole view stacked or nested inside a navigation stack. Then we're going to have a VStack, and this VStack is going to host a spacer first, so we can actually center our circular view at the center, and then we're going to have another spacer, and underneath the spacer we're going to have a button which is going to simply say show. Okay, and this is going to toggle the show progress. All right, so that is going to be the responsibility for this button, and we can actually put a button style for this guy, and we can say button style is border prominent. All right, now between these two spacers is where we can actually draw our circle, and we're gonna say if the show progress, if it is true, then we want to show a circle. Okay, and basically we're gonna apply trim value to this circle, and we're gonna trim from 0.0 to progress length. Whatever the progress length is, we want to trim to that. All right, so let's go ahead and try this out, and this is what it is going to look like. All right, now let's go ahead and set the stroke for this guy, so it's not a filled circle but just a stroke. So we're gonna say stroke. Okay, and the stroke takes basically some sort of color. We can actually provide a style, and we're going to use linear gradient. Linear gradient is basically, it expects colors, so we're going to supply the colors with colors index. So simply colors at the color index. Okay, so that's going to be one color, and the second color is going to be colors color dot color index, and let's get the opacity for this guy and set the opacity 0.8. okay, or you can do 0.6. The starting point for this linear gradient is going to be the top leading, and ending point where the gradient is going to end is going to be bottom trailing. Okay, now I'm going to show you a cool trick of Xcode 15. If you want to format this in multi-line, simply select this and press Ctrl M, and what it should do is basically format these and separate out, like, you know, all the parameters in different lines, which is much more readable in my opinion. We can do the same thing for this guy, so just select Command M, and we have our trim and stroke defined. Okay, so if we do show, as you can see, we have our wheel shown up. Okay, now once we have, like, you know, our stroke, let's go ahead and also set a stroke style, so we can actually give this circle a width. So right after our linear gradient, we're gonna say stroke, or we're just gonna say style, stroke style, and we need line width. Line width is gonna be maybe 10 points. We need line cap. We can say line cap is going to be rounded, and line join is going to be rounded as well. Okay, let's go ahead and format this. Okay, and let's go ahead and see what we've got so far. So as you can see, we have our circle nice looking up, and now we are ready to apply our first animation modifier. So we're gonna have like a couple of animation modifiers. The first one is going to essentially work on the progress length. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna find the end of the stroke where, like, you know, this whole modifier actually ends, and we are going to apply the animation modifier to this. Okay, we're going to select the overload that takes a value, and the value we're going to operate on is going to be the progress length. Okay, and for the animation, it is going to be ease in, but we are also going to provide the duration, and duration for this animation is going to be 1.5 in seconds. Okay, we do want to make sure that we repeat this animation, and we want to repeat this forever by auto reversing it to be true. Okay, so let's go ahead and reformat this as well, and now we have our animation. So let's go ahead and check it out what we have, and I'm gonna actually build and run and see, like, what we actually get. Alright, so what you can see is basically right now, if you try to run it, it's just gonna get stuck here, because the problem is right now progress length is being set to the value which is defined right here, 0.08. We have not changed the value anywhere. So let's go ahead and do that next. Okay, so what we're going to do is, whenever this view appears, okay, we can actually set the progress length. All right, so I'm going to set that particular modifier right here where our progress, basically not the progress where it ends. Yeah, this one is the progress. So let's go ahead and set it right here. Okay, so on appear. Okay, and on appear block is going to check first the progress length. Basically it's going to set the progress length to 0. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this by building our code and running it on the simulator, and what we should get is basically our show button, and as soon as we actually press on show, well, nothing happens. Okay, so let's see what is going on. I'm going to resume this so we can actually see why it's happening, because on appear is basically applied on this. Let's go ahead and apply outside, and let's see if that actually makes any difference. As you can see, nothing is showing up because I think the progress length is going to 0. Okay, so I guess we need to do something else. We need to make sure that our degrees is also set. Okay, now for the degree, what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our animation field, and right underneath animation, first we're going to set the frame for this guy, and we're going to set the width and height. Okay, so width is going to be maybe about 80 points, and height is going to be about 80 points as well. Okay, so this is basically what our circle should look like. For now, I'm gonna just comment this one so we can at least see the circle that we have. Okay, and we're gonna come back to that in a bit. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna apply a rotation effect. Okay, now rotation effect takes an angle, so we're gonna simply give it an angle. Okay, in degrees. All right, and we're going to basically cast our degree that we have saved into a double value, because angle takes a double value in degrees. All right, next we are going to set an animation. Okay, and this animation is going to operate on degree, so value is going to be for degree, and now we're going to run a linear animation. Okay, and linear animation, we're going to set the duration part as well. So let's go ahead and set the duration, and we're going to select the duration of 0.5 for this one. And once again, we're going to do this repeat forever, and we're going to set the auto reverse to false. Okay, we don't want this to be auto reversing, and I'm going to reformat the animation part, and then we have, like, our value. Okay, now if we go back into our on appear, what we want to do is we also want to change the degree. Okay, and the way we want to change the degree is initial degree is 270 and we want to add 360 to that, so we have like full rotation going on inside our progress for our progress view for the circle that we are actually looking at. So if I do show now, okay, so there's something going on in the show, so we need to actually track it down why it is not appearing. All right, and I believe that is because of the onAppear, order of onAppear. So let's go ahead and apply onAppear onto the circle itself. So whenever the circle appears, that's when we want to change the degree and the progress length. Okay, so let's go ahead and resume our preview, and we should see our circle basically animating. Okay, so as you can see, our animation is almost complete. It's just like it does not have the color change effect yet. So let's go ahead and apply that. Now color change is a bit tricky because we want to cycle through these colors and we want to make sure we stay within the index. Okay, so basically we stay like and cycle through all these colors within like 4 values that are defined inside the color variable. All right, so basically in order for you to sort of like cycle through the colors, there are a couple of techniques. So I'll show you the first one that is rather simple, and the second one is actually pretty cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and see the first one. So basically what we want to do is we want to cycle through the colors, but color index is going to run out of index as we keep incrementing that. So we're going to say if the color index is greater than equal to colors.count -1. Okay, so if it has reached the last index, set the color index value to be 0. Okay, otherwise set the color index as +1. So basically increment it by 1. All right, now let's make sure it's typed correctly, and then we're gonna basically simply run this. Okay, so I'm gonna click show, and as you can see, our view is gonna change its color. Okay, now it is missing an important piece of information, which is the branding. So I'm gonna set the navigation title as devtechie.com really quickly, and let's make sure it is actually at the right navigation level. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, we have like our color index changing, but you can do all this in just 2 lines. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we are going to set the color index. So we're going to increment the color index. So color index plus equal 1. Okay, so we're always incrementing that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the color index and update the value with the color index, which is the newly incremented value. Apply a modulus operator, which is going to give us the remainder, and we're going to put it modulus apply modulus operator with the colors.count. So if it's going to be basically 0 index, 0 mod 3 for example is going to be 0, 1 mod 3 is going to be 1, 2 mod 3 is going to be 2, 3 mod 3 is going to be 0, 4 mod 3 is again gonna start from 1. Okay, so the remainder that comes in is going to be stored here, and this is actually going to serve the same purpose as what we were doing earlier. So let's go ahead and run this, and as you can see, our view is acting and behaving exactly the way it was doing earlier. And with that, we have actually built the entire progress bar using just few lines of code inside SwiftUI. And you learned some of the techniques to apply, make your code a little bit more efficient. All right, with that, we reached the end of this video. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys in another video.